So we were going to do the minors in the second half, you said.
210 is in minor. That is correct.
So you still want us to do it for the first half, even though we're doing minors in the second half.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Okay, your schedule shows all the major scales,
Correct.
major arpeggios,
Correct.
in the first half.
Correct.
All the minor arpeggios and the minor scales in the second half.
Correct.
Okay, so in my mind, doing the minor progression would make more sense with the minors. I don't know.
Well, we're not going to. We're going to get even harder chord progressions for the second half.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So on this,
So we have one major and one minor chord progression for the first half. 210 is the minor and 242 is the major.
that's fine. I just was asked. Okay, so on this chord progression that we talked about yesterday,
Right.
some things came clear in my mind. Those are all four of the different chords are in first inversion. That I figured out. I even went and figured out what the B7 would look like, and then inverted it. And so I got sense out of all that, and I can see how to do it. But what I couldn't figure out was where the bottom notes came from. Now maybe it's not important because the bottom notes, playing the bottom notes is pretty simple. Just play them.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, is there some way, some special way they got put in there, or are they just the ones that the person liked?
Interesting question.
There just didn't seem to be a pattern.
Right. Well, there's definitely a reason why they put them in. And do we want to open that can of worms or not? Is the $1 million question.
It sounds nice, and there is a little bit of a pattern to it because it went C and then F. F was kind of nice because you just use your fourth finger and then
your second finger.
And so you're still using the 5-finger pattern, right? C, F, and G.
Right.
So that all worked kind of nicely. Just C, F, G, G, and C.
Yeah, well, I would say these two things. I would say number one, obviously our first, it's not, what am I doing?
Well, that wasn't as important a question as how did we know that those were in first inversion?
Okay.
Like a V7, how do I know that V7 is in first inversion? And I think the first one is a mistake. That probably should be I64 like the other one.
Okay, let me try to answer both of your questions. Question number one, the first and the last chord are in root position. This 2 chord is in first inversion. And that's the most commonly found inversion for a 2 chord. And we learn that in theory class. So you will learn that probably in theory 1 or 2.
But the first chord is in first inversion too, isn't it?
If you look at the right hand, yes. If you look at the chord as a whole, no.
What do you mean if you look at the right hand?
Well, look at my screen.
I'm looking at the right hand. Yes, I'm just talking about the right hand. I'm not talking about adding in the left hand.
So that is in first inversion. This chord is not in first inversion.
Which one?
The 4th chord.
The 4th chord, but that's the first inversion 7th, isn't it?
It is not.
It is not. So I made a mistake on that. I thought I calculated out that it was.
The notes are G, B, D, and F. And our bottom note in the right hand is the F. So we're actually in 3rd inversion. So first inversion, first inversion, first inversion, third inversion, first inversion.
Well, when I figured it out, I thought we're looking at 5, 7, 2, and 11. Or 5, 7, 9, and 11. Right, for this to create the fifth chord with the seventh.
Say that again.
Okay, we would be looking at 5, 7, 9, and 11.
That's an interesting way of thinking about it. You're absolutely right. However, we would not call it that normally.
Well, that's okay. It converts to what? 5, 7, 4,
and 2. You were right.
Yeah, I mean, it converts.
Yep.
So,
Yep. You were right.
okay, so if I look at 5, 7, 9, 11, and I drop the 9, and then put the 11 and the 7 down an octave.
Mm-hmm.
So then I should end up with 7, 4, and 5.
Yes. However, when your 4 is in the bottom position, you are in third inversion. If you look at my screen, I've written out the note names. On the left, I've written out your 5, 7, 9, 11. On the right, I've written out root position, first inversion, second inversion, third inversion. So when your 4 or your 11 is on the bottom, when your F is on the bottom like it is, we're in third inversion.
Okay. Okay, so that, I just didn't know that. All right.
So if this chart helps you, I would take a screenshot of it.
I'll just mark it down that that's actually the third inversion because, and it did seem kind of funny because they're switched around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, good.
So that wasn't a first inversion, that was a third inversion.
That's the only one that's not.
Okay.
Now, what was your second question? Your second question was what do these numbers mean?
Yeah, what tells us that that's the inversions that they're in? Because if we're looking okay, maybe I'm thinking wrong, but I'm thinking if I see the I, then I have to do a tonic.
True. That is true.
Not a tonic. This is a first inversion, so the I would have to have some indicator next to it to tell me to go to first inversion.
Right, but it's still a tonic. Don't get that confused. This is a tonic. This is a tonic. And this is a tonic. All three are tonics. They're just in inversions. You're absolutely right.
But
so let me clear my screen.
Put the inversion in there.
Let me clear my screen and we'll try it again. All right, so this is a tonic.
Right.
That's a tonic. And it's also root position. This is a tonic first inversion.
This is closed.
Yes, one's closed and one's open. You're absolutely right.
And tonic 6 mean from root to top, it will be 6 interval.
Yes. But it can be displaced any number of octaves.
Okay, yes. Mm-hmm.
So these are all tonic chords because they all have Roman numeral 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this one is in closed position, like Luda said. It's nice and neat and stacked. This is in open position. And we've taken our E and we've put it up an octave. But as far as the Roman numerals goes, it doesn't matter because C, the root of our chord, is on the bottom.
Oh, okay. So this one, the second one is also a tonic, even though it goes C, G, E.
Right. and it's an open position. And you're going to find that more in things like choral scores or hymns.
Okay, that's a tonic just because you move.
Still tonic, still the same notes, just a different order.
You just move the C. Okay.
But the important thing is my C is on the bass. I moved the E. The C is on the bass. And that's what constitutes it as a root position tonic chord, because I have C, E, G, and the C is on the bass. It doesn't matter that I have C, G, E or C, E, G. It just matters what's on the bass. You with me?
Yes.
I'm jotting that down. C on the bass is tonic.
C on the bass is tonic root position. Now, the next chord is 1/6. What that 6 means is that a sixth above our bass is where we will find our root. Technically, there's a little 3 here, but nobody prints it because it's confusing. And a third above the bass is another one of our chord notes. Still a tonic triad, though not in root position, because we have numbers. And when the E is on the bass, when the third is on the bass, when we're in first inversion, we get an Arabic 6, and we get an implied Arabic 3. But nobody prints that 3. This chord and this chord are the same Roman numeral chords, both of which have E on the bass. But again, the second chord is an open chord, more likely found in choral music, and the first chord is a closed chord. Now, let me step back just 1 second, Edison, and tell you that the implied numbers for this chord are 5 and 3, but nobody prints them. They're implied. Everybody.
They're implied. They printed a 6.
Say again.
You printed a 6.
We print a 6 for first inversion, and we print a 6/4 for second inversion, but we don't print anything for root.
Oh, you're back over here.
Yeah. If we were to print what was on root, it would be a 5/3, but nobody prints it. Okay, now this chord is in second inversion. The 4 tells us we have a note a fourth above the bass, and the 6 tells us we have a note a sixth above the bass. That tells us we are not in root position. Again, these two chords are the same chords, but the second one is in open position. Again, most likely found in choral music, and not so much in beginning piano music. So you know how you did your 9th and your 11th? Same thing. We got a 4th, but it's a 4th plus an octave. So what is that, a 12?
But the bass here is a G.
Sorry, it's an 11th.
Right.
Wait. 11, yeah.
But it's a G. It's not a C.
A G to a C is 11 notes away, or 4 notes plus the octave. Are you with me?
It's different octave.
Yeah. So G to C here is a 4th. G to C here is an 11th, but it's just a 4th plus an octave.
So 8 and 3.
Yeah. Yep. Again, second inversion. So if you can memorize, root has nothing. First inversion has a 6.
Oh, that.
And second inversion has a 6/4.
Okay, so that's second inversion. That's why it's okay.
Those are the first inversion, second inversion, and root position symbols.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. It just goes to show that I need to learn more of that theory when we take theory next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, I found that I can play it just because of the patterns. So I can play that thing. The difficult thing for me to do is to go to any key.
Yeah.
For example, going to say like I wanted to go to G. The way I was able to think about it was to go G, B, D, and then go B, D, G, and
Yeah.
then I where I needed to start.
Yes.
And that was the easiest thing that I could think of to figure it out.
Yeah. Can I clear my screen?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry to take up so much time on this stuff, but
No, it's good. I'm glad that you got it.
gives me a little bit, but like like I can see, I just have to learn more.
So
And
what I would do to what I would tell you, Edison, is in trying to transpose these is to rely on the formula.
yeah, yeah, because once I can find the beginning position, then I can just use the half step and the two
You
whole
got it.
steps and what you thought is what we see in there. And
Okay.
and the formula only is that formula because this is the pattern we're doing.
Right.
You could have any pattern, but any patterns, if you have a different pattern, you have a different formula.
Yep. Every chord progression is going to have its own formula, isn't it?
Yeah, and so this is not like a it's a chord progression because we're progressing the chords, but it doesn't have like a specific name. It's just a chord progression, and you look at what it is, and that's what you play.
They call it the 1 2 6 1 6 4 5 7 1 chord progression.
Okay, so it does have it. I mean, it has a name if you can remember all
It's just the name of the Roman numerals.
that. Okay, all right. But for our point at this time, we don't need to know that because anytime you want us to play that chord progression, you're gonna
I'm going to refer to it as the page 242 chord progression.
right. That's kind of what I meant.
Yeah. Yep.
Then we'll have a picture to look at. We won't have to try and figure out the I and the little I6 and the I6
If
chord.
you can learn that chord change and that chord change, you've got it.
Right.
Because the one in between is just back
It's just back to the
and
original.
back. You
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not challenging. I mean, it's challenging because it's challenging to find the right starting point.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, if you can find the starting point and figure out the first change, go
Yeah.
back, figure out the second change, go back, you've got it.
Yeah. And then once you figure out the starting point, again, like I mentioned earlier, then the left hand becomes pretty easy because it just starts at the starting point, right?
Yeah, and I like to think scale degree 1, scale degree 4, scale degree 5, scale degree 5, scale degree 1.
Uh,
1, 1, 4, 5, 5, 1.
well, that's basically what I said too.
Yep.
When
Yep.
I goes, it's your 5-finger pattern. You have 1, 4, and 5.
Yeah, so some people like to think of the finger numbers 5, 2, 1, 1, 5.
Oh, is that right? Oh, yeah, it is a finger of 5. Okay, 5, 4, 5, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1. But really, it's 1 and then 4 over and then 1 over.
Yep.
So what you just said,
Yep.
1, 4, and 5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any other questions on this chord progression? Christian, Jesus?
I just need to remember where to like just do the thing like on the right hand and I'll be
Convert
good.
it.
Yeah.
So what you can do is you can find it in root position and then just put the bottom note on top. And you're ready to go. So find the original chord in root position, take the bottom note, put it on the top, and you've got it. So if we're going to do it in the key of G, find me the G chord, put the G on the top, keeping the other two notes the same, and you're ready to go in the right hand. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Jesus?
Yeah, so right now I'm good because I think with Edison asking questions, it's helping a lot with like
Yeah.
the explanation.
Yeah. So Edison, keep asking the questions because you're asking the questions that Jesus is too quiet to ask. But Jesus, don't feel like you can't ask questions. And even if you want to ask them in the chat, that's fine, yeah? Sweet. I have to give Jesus a bad time sometimes. Nobody picks on him because he's so quiet.
It's too nice.
Yeah. I'm sure the company that he's hanging out with, his good friend, gives him a bad time. All right. So we're good on 242? How are our pieces coming along? Is everybody here doing the waltz?
I think so, actually.
Yeah, yes.
Things are good with the waltz?
Just got to get more routine practice in.
Yeah.
A lot of practice to get up to some decent speed.
There's a famous pedagogue or teacher in Japan. His last name was Suzuki. And this is what he said, Ben. He said, you don't have to practice every day. You only have to practice on the days that you eat.
Okay, yeah.
Not the days that you eat.
The days that you eat.
Was he a Christian or something?
That I don't know, but
Muslim, maybe? I don't know.
from Japan, I don't know, but he's very famous for a method of teaching listening, doing a lot of listening.
I've heard of Suzuki, but
Yeah. You can go down to Gottschalk's and order Suzuki books, buy Suzuki books for piano and violin and all the string instruments. But yeah, that's his famous quote. You don't have to practice every day, only on the days that you eat.
3 times per day.
So when you shove that cheeseburger in your mouth, remember, I need to practice my waltz. Okay, just a heads up on the waltz. Some of you were missing this note, so I want to make sure that you're aware that this note right here is an F, and it forms a 7th chord, a dominant 7th chord. Some of you had it no problem, but some of you were missing it when we had our piece quiz.
which
Measure 7, the last note of measure 7 is an F.
last note of measure 7.
Seeing my screen? Or are you looking at your book?
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
So it's going to sound like this. And some of you were playing a G. But we need that tangy 7th chord.
That's what.
And particularly,
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, Ben?
the note in the right hand at that point is a B, which forms a beautiful, lovely.
We have to have dissonance
Mhm.
so we can know consonants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which one? That's
Now, I want you to also know we get that same note
D.
in measure 23.
G. Oh, I see. G. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Any questions on the waltz while we're on it?
Got that one.
Okay, there are 6 things on your midterm. This is true?
Sounds like it.
What
Let's
are
see.
they?
There's the piece. I want to say scales, arpeggios. So major scales, minor scales, major arpeggios, minor arpeggios, piece, and chord progressions.
Chord progressions.
Sight reading.
Okay, yeah.
Sight reading.
Oh, right. We're only doing major stuff for the first.
Harmonization.
That's right. Yeah. We're only doing major stuff for the first.
Only
for the
major
midterm, right?
scales and arpeggios. Yep. So
Okay.
it should be a
When-
review.
When is that ending? Is that like March 15th?
And it's going to be a little bit earlier than that, probably around March 8th or 9th.
March 8th, so we have barely a month left then.
Yeah,
That's fine. We got a lot of the groundwork already laid. So
I think so. I think we're in good shape.
You guys are in good shape.
So let's. So we've looked at the piece. I think we're doing well there. Some of you have been doing really well on your scales and arpeggios. We spent a lot of time on chord progressions, which I think is great. We've done a little bit of sight reading and a little bit of harmonization. I think we need to focus more on those two. What do you guys think? What do we all think? Harmonization, we've gone over a couple. Which ones have we gone over and which ones have we not? We went over for He's a Jolly Good Fellow, didn't we?
yeah, that one we did.
That was 9:35.
Yes, 9:35.
Did we look at 10:18?
No. 10. We didn't really look at it.
Okay, let's look at it. What can you tell me about 10:18?
Well, it's in D.
Good.
Three times, so kind of fast.
It's a waltz piece with waltz style accompaniment and waltz style meter and
Yes. Now,
waltz style constant eighth notes everywhere.
I will say that you don't have to do the waltz style for me. You can do just a block chord. I'm okay with that. However, over at Fresno State, they don't like that. From what I hear. So if you are planning on transferring to Fresno State, be able to play a waltz style accompaniment or an Alberti bass or an arpeggiated accompaniment. Yeah?
So when you're doing that waltz cell, you call that a broken chord.
Yes. Yes, because we're taking our chord and we're breaking it up into a boom, chuck, chuck. And the other one's called an Alberti bass because Alberti was the composer that gets credit for doing it first. And that's just...
Played that. You didn't play that chord smoothly. You played it.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, you're not playing the note to note.
You want it more? You want it more legato?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, that you were
Gotcha.
playing it that way.
I like to dance raucously when I do the waltz.
Okay. All right.
In fact, I don't like to dance at all. I'll just be the one playing the music. Yeah, depending upon the character, you're absolutely right. Okay. Shall we play this right-hand melody first?
Yeah, that's what I was already starting to do. Seems like a good strategy.
What is going on with this melody? What do you notice going back to our RCM sight reading tips?
The first two measures are arpeggiated chords, broken chords, if you will.
Good.
Descending arpeggiated.
Well, I forget what you called those, but you told us to mark them with an X.
Oh, the skips?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, and then the next one is it is a,
Got a
that's
leap.
a skip too,
A leap?
well, well, it's not a leap, is it? Isn't this also a skip, but just you go up? Well, I mean, okay, you like a really leap up to start the next one, right?
What measure are you talking about?
Well, okay, measure one, then you really leap up to measure two, and then you skip again.
Yes. And then you leap up to measure 3.
Right.
And then you leap down to measure 5. Does everybody see that measure 1, 2, 3, 4
Praise.
is the same as measure 9, 10, 11, 12?
1, 2, 3, 4.
With one small exception?
Yes.
9, 10, 11, 12.
No exception. Oh, okay. Yes, I see it. It's not.
No, I don't see it. 1, 2,
The
3.
first 4 measures and the last 4 measures are essentially the same, Edison.
Oh, okay. Now I see what you're talking about. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Now, what's going on with all the finger numbers?
We change in third measure. We change from 5 to 4.
Yeah, how many hand positions do we have?
Little.
My first measure is in a D major hand position, which would be D, E, F sharp, G, A. White, white, black, white, white. They did not need to give us the 3 or the 1.
No, they didn't have to, huh?
In fact, I wish they wouldn't have.
They needed to give you the 1 to get to the next 5, didn't they?
No,
Jumping.
because no, they need to give us the 5 telling us that we did jump into a new hand position.
Well, I thought they always gave you the previous one where you were, and then the jump to where you're going.
Probably. Depends on the editor.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So what's my second measure's hand position?
Second, it's fifth on C.
Should be 5, 3, 1, shouldn't it? But
Yeah. So if my thumb's on E, I'm in an E minor 5-finger pattern. E, F sharp, G, A, B. So I start in D major. I move everything 1 note to the right. And then I move everything to the right again, where I have a 5 on C sharp, then a 4 on C sharp, and then I stay in that hand position. So if my pinky's on D, what's my new hand position here?
Where are you?
Measure 3.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to look at my book, and I'm not looking at my book. I can't see what you're doing. I should be looking at what you're doing.
If my 4 is on C sharp, where's my pinky?
4 is on C sharp.
Pinky on F.
Should be, yeah.
Nope. Try again.
Well, C sharp.
Oh, D. It's in D.
It's a G 5-finger pattern. If my 4's on C sharp, my 5's on D. If my 5's on D, my thumb is on G.
Wait a minute, what are we talking about here?
We're talking about this note right here.
You know, my problem is I always forget which is 5 and which is 1.
Yeah.
So, and
So here's the deal.
it helps me when they're going down. So like I can see the 5. The 5 must be my thumb.
No.
What?
The 1 is your thumb. Your 5 is your pinky.
The 5 is your pinky.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Oh yeah, because you got to go the other way, right? So yeah, because you go down. You're right. 5 is your pinky. Okay.
So we start in a D major 5-finger pattern. We go to an E minor 5-finger pattern. Technically, we go to the F sharp 5-finger pattern for one note, so I'm not even going to write it out. And then we go to a G major 5-finger pattern for the rest of the song until we get back to this repeat in measure 9. Let me share my other screen with you so you can see both at the same time. So we start, oh, I lost everything. We start in a D 5-finger. We go to an E minor 5-finger. We get the C sharp for one note. And then we go to a G major 5-finger.
See. Well, so we have to play the C sharp with our thumb then.
Nope, with your pinky and then your 4th finger.
What? G.
C sharp is played with your pinky and your 4th finger.
G. Oh, G, F, E, D, C. G, F, E, D, C. G, F, D, E, C. What are we doing there?
So we have a D major 5-finger pattern, an E minor 5-finger pattern.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, my bad. I started with my pinky on G instead of D.
And then we go to a G major 5-finger pattern with a C sharp in it.
G. D.
Let's clap our rhythm, shall we? What's our 8th note going to be?
An 8th note?
What rhythm word are we going to use for our 8th note?
Oh, shoot.
Our 8th note becomes our new pi. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Pi, 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 repeat. Pi, 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 pi.
I can do that one.
Good. Now let's try shadow playing it.
What's the shadow play?
Shadow play is where you put your hands on the keys and touch the keys, but don't let them make any noise.
Oh, my keys don't make any noise anyway. Okay, so you're starting on D, start on
We start with our pinky on A.
A, yeah. See, I gotta get better at that. Okay. Right for an A. So you see that. Doesn't go to the C. Yeah.
How'd we do? Did we get it?
Yeah, like I was kind of plucking at it before, and then when you suggested shadow playing, I tried that, and then when I actually went to play it, it came out a lot smoother.
Good.
Rather than just kind of trying to pluck out the keys first and listen, right?
Yeah, it's a nice intermediate step that might remind you, oh, I'm supposed to be playing a blackie, or, you know, it can help. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this out loud. I don't know if it'll come across as delayed, probably, but you can play along with me, or you can just listen. You can always watch the replay and play along with me. You've liked and subscribed, haven't you? And shared with all your Twitch followers and everything like that. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Here I go. 5 on A. Skip down. Skip down. Leap up to 5 on B. Skip down. Skip down. Leap up to 5 on C sharp. Replace it with a 4. Same note. Step up to 5 on D. Repeat. 5 on A. Skip down. Skip down. Leap up to 5 on B. Skip down. Skip down. 5 on C sharp. Replace it with a 4. Same note. Step up. Keep your hand right where it's at. Start with 2 on A. Same note. Same note. Step up. Same note. Same note. Step up. Same note. Same note. Step up. Same note. Same note. Move your hand to pinky on A. Just like the beginning. Skip down. Skip down. Leap up to 5 on B. Skip down. Skip down. Leap up to 5 on C sharp. Replace it with a 4. Same note. Step up. How'd we do? So I want you to practice that tonight. Tomorrow, we are going to put in our chords to harmonize this. All right, we are out of time for today, but try to get the melody down in your right hand on 10-18, and we'll go over the harmonization chords tomorrow. All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I think I'm kind of ahead then.
And when I say tomorrow, I mean Monday, don't I?
Correct. So
have a good weekend. Be safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Remember who you were and what you stood for, and we'll see you on Monday.
See you then.